In this video, we're going to take a look at how to stack players or stack teams and how it works, how to set exposure to certain players in those stacks. Now, the first thing you want to know is you can set team stacks simply like this. Well, assuming we want to stack Kansas City, and you want 10 stacks of the Kansas City Royals. There you have it. It's a little bit different when you come down here and we see set players per team. So we want 10 Royal stacks, but we may not want 5 players in each one of those. So what you could do is select minimum of 3, maximum of 5, or if you don't want 5 and you just want 4, you want a mini stack on DraftKings, you can set it to 4. And on FanDuel, as we know, you cannot have any more than 4 of one team. So what's nice about this is you can stack 2 different teams. Let's say Kansas City and Oakland. We want 5 Oakland stacks and 5 Kansas City stacks. What you can do is set both of them, and after doing so, go down to here. You have 3 to 4 or 4 and 4, 4 minimum, 4 maximum if you want. You can make it a little bit more restrictive. And you can find Oakland and do the same thing. 3 and 4, 4 and 4, 3 and 3, however you want to set that. So now if we were to make lineups, 10 lineups, and we were to generate them, what you get is a variety of beautiful green and blue stacks with the Royals and with the Oakland A's. Now, one thing you want to be careful of is oftentimes it will throw the pitcher in. So what I oftentimes do is I will set the exposure, as you saw in the previous video, or I will just exclude that pitcher from that team. So those are 2 ways to do it. But as you see here, Sean Manaea is in a lot of them. You can make it so that Manaea doesn't end up in any of them, and you have 3 or 4 Oakland bats, along with 3 or 4 or 5, depending on what site you're playing, Kansas City Royals bats. So that's the simplest way to going about stacking players. And remember, if you wanted to stack players, but you were also a big fan of Mallex Smith, as you see here, you just lock him in, and he will appear in all of your lineups. If you want Mallex Smith in some of those lineups, just set it at 50% exposure, and he will only be in half of them. So it's a nice way to play around with these lineups. As you can also see, Corey Seager's exposure is set at 50. We'll reset that to 0. So you can set any of them to the exposure that you would like. You can lock them, exclude them, and still make sure that that works in stacking as well.